after narrowly, and I mean narrowly, escaping death, Donald Trump arrived at the Republican National Convention to accept the GOP nomination for president. There, he finally announced his running mate, JD Vance. We just emerged from the most tumultuous 48 hours of this presidential election cycle. Trump was shot by an assassin just 2 days before the RNC. The gunman missed his brain by mere millimeters, thanks to a gust of wind and the grace of God. The bullet shaved off only a chunk of his ear because he just happened to turn at an angle at that exact moment. After a short hospital visit, Trump rebounded quickly, got back on the saddle, and showed up in Milwaukee to become the Republican nominee for president. The scare had some people crudely speculating online about whether Trump's team would be looking for assassination insurance in a VP pick. Even Elon Musk. I don't know about that, but Trump did find a partner that will solidify his legacy.
Look, this guy was successful. He brought freedom. He brought a ton of prosperity to our country, peace on the world stage, right? Like, you didn't have a new war popping up every year. So I just think the results were so good.
Traditionally, the nominee picks a running mate who balances out the ticket. In 2016, Trump was mainly an economic populist. Mike Pence was mainly an evangelical, very pro-life Christian. Trump was a businessman. Pence was a governor.
I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican, in that order.
John F. Kennedy was a northerner from Massachusetts, so he selected southerner Lyndon B. Johnson to be his VP.
Nominate Senator Lyndon B. Johnson of Texas for the office of Vice President.
Some have argued that Vance is very similar to Trump, an extension of the MAGA platform rather than a vote-getter who can capture new crucial demographics. Doug Burgum and Marco Rubio were also on the VP shortlist. Both more establishment GOP, they likely would have reached to the middle more. Trump picking Vance suggests overwhelming confidence from the campaign that this election is in the bag.
Someone's getting very confident.
They don't need to follow a rubric. They don't necessarily need to earn undecided voters. Elon Musk and other old-school liberal multimillionaires like Bill Ackman endorsed Trump after the assassination attempt. Now, the energy has shifted even more in favor of Trump winning the White House. Vance as VP is about enshrining and doubling down on Trump's America First agenda. So who is JD Vance? Before politics, he was the best-selling author of Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir about his life growing up in rural Appalachia, the Rust Belt ruins of Ohio, which was later turned into a movie. Vance went on to serve in the Marines, graduate from Yale Law School, and become a Silicon Valley venture capitalist. Then he returned to Ohio to become a mouthpiece for forgotten Americans of so-called flyover country, plagued with drugs, broken homes, and disappearing industries left behind by globalization.
I came from a southern Ohio steel town, and it's a town that's really struggling in a lot of ways that are indicative of the broader struggles of America's working class. Heroin has moved in, killing a lot of people I know. Family violence, domestic violence, and divorce have torn apart families. And there's a very unique sense of pessimism that's moved in.
With this message of reckoning with the elites and their contempt for middle America, you'd think Vance would have supported Trump, but he opposed him.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. As somebody who doesn't like Trump, I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton.
But after Trump's first term, Vance changed his mind. He decided that he was a great president. Flash forward to today, Vance is a U.S. Senator from the state of Ohio. He's diverged from the traditional Republican Party on 3 main issues. He argues for a secure border with controlled, vetted, and limited immigration. For the sake of prioritizing America's economic prosperity, he questions whether free trade is absolutely good when nations like China may take unfair advantage, and he advocates for foreign policy restraint rather than default intervention in conflicts abroad. This is a platform that has come to dominate today's Republican Party. We're seeing a lot of unity around #TrumpVance2024 from senators, congressmen, and conservative media.
I'm inclined to say this could be the single most formidable political ticket in my lifetime.
Senator Marco Rubio offered his kudos. Same with Senator Lindsey Graham. But let's be honest, Trump could have chosen anyone, and the left would still attack that person relentlessly. That is their strategy. Days after Trump was almost murdered, the media is up to its usual antics, calling JD Vance an extremist, of course. This is after liberal pundits blamed Trump for the attempt on his own life. They said he has raised the temperature in this country to a dangerous level with his fascist rhetoric.
He is recovering from these injuries now. This was a traumatic event, no doubt, for him. But I did notice there was no call for lowering the temperature, condemning all political violence, and really trying to signal to his supporters as well not to retaliate or to have any kind of escalation here.
But look, maybe after Trump nearly faced his demise, his outlook changed. Before, he might have considered a moderate VP to expand the tent. Now he doesn't seem to care. He picked the guy that will complement and illuminate the MAGA agenda, even if it's a risk for the ticket. Loyalty is very important to Trump. While Vance wasn't always his biggest fan, he did say this.
Would you have certified the election results had you been vice president?
If I had been vice president, I would have told the states like Pennsylvania, Georgia, and so many others that we needed to have multiple slates of electors, and I think the U.S. Congress should have fought over it from there. That is the legitimate way to deal with an election that a lot of folks, including me, think had a lot of problems in 2020. I think that's what we should have done.
Personally, I'm excited to see Vance wipe the floor with Kamala Harris at the vice presidential debate. We know Vance would be a better VP than her. Check out our video that shows how terrible of a public communicator Kamala is.